What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Pan Africana Show. As always, it's Jesse McCoy, and I'm here with my illustrious co-host, Fred Nantara. How you doing, Fred?
I'm doing well.
Good. And
How are you? How's everyone doing?
I can't complain, man. I made it another week. My lungs are still good. Unlike some people walking around, we still making it. So I'm happy about that. And I want to also take a little time here to introduce somebody who is very special to me and to the show, a good friend of mine, an attorney, a world traveler, a man of all myths. Mr. Will Dudley, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I hope you are. Thank you guys for having me. You know, I've been watching the show the past couple of weeks, so I'm really excited to be able to come on and share with you all.
Wonderful. Well, let me first start because I want to make sure I've loaded my watch party here. We got it going, so people know.
Yeah, we do have it going.
There we go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask the first question. So Will, could you introduce yourself to everybody on the show?
Sure.
Tell us about yourself.
Sure. So, William Dudley, Twitter handle Black Esquire, as you can see there. I'm an attorney. I live here in the U.S., local to North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina. I'm a graduate. Jesse and I are actually law school classmates, and have kept in contact post graduation. I practice in the area of contracts. I do some international law as well. And, you know, I'm just a lover of people and a lover of humanity, a lover of Black people also. And when I say Black people, that means people across the diaspora, right?
Okay.
So whether you're Black in America, you're Black in Egypt, you're Black in Russia, I have a saying that I feel that our challenges, while different, are all the same, you know? So, you know, that's my goal, to see what I can do to be of assistance to all of us across the diaspora.
All right, cool. So, Will, to everyone, Will has a middle name, and it's an interesting middle name, and it's Ekow, which is Ekow. What was the origin of your Ekow? Since I know where it's from, I don't know how you got yours.
Yeah. So, you know, that is not my born middle name. My born middle name is actually Archie, right?
Okay.
Which might be the whitest middle name that has ever been created, but I inherited that from my dad. But you know, one of the great things that I've learned in my travels is that it's important to pick up pieces wherever you go. So the first time that I was in Ghana in 2015, you know, I was sitting at a bar in downtown Accra, and I was talking to some of the young men who were serving us drinks, and they were really just pouring into us our history, right?
Okay.
And one of the things that they gave to us was, you know, they asked us what our names were. So we told them our names. They were like, no. What is your name? Yeah. And, you know, they told us that our names coincided with the day of the week that we were born. So because I was born, you know, my birthday is the 22nd of May, 1980. That was a Thursday. So I assumed the name Ekow. And I carry that with me. No disrespect to my dad, but I don't use the Caucasian middle name. I use my African given middle name. And you know, the folks in Ghana, that's how they address me whenever I talk to my friends there. They're like, "What's up, Big Ekow? Big Ekow, how you doing, Ekow?" So, you know, it's that's where it comes from. It comes from me learning about myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
So what got you into international travel in the first place?
So, I have a client. That was doing some business with some individuals that had some interest in Ghana. And in support of the client, I was invited to travel along to meet some of the business partners there. We were looking to do some business in the areas of agriculture, in the areas of renewable energy. That business side is really what brought me to the continent. Now, I've been wanting to go for a long time, but like most folks in the States, there are certain things that have been put in place that discourage us from being able to go to the motherland, whether that be finances, which I think kind of rates at the very top, or the fact that we've been preached narratives in the States about what Africa is and what our reception to Africa will be. That's another burden. There's also kind of the regulatory burden. You got to have a passport, and you got to have a yellow fever shot if you're coming from the States. So I have been wanting to go, for a while, but that business really, was the entree that I needed to actually get over there.
Oh, wow. So tell us about Ghana. What was your first impression about Ghana?
It's crazy because my first impression was everybody looks like me. And while that seems very simple, when you're from a place where you are the minority and they label you as the minority and they preach that you are the minority all the time, you really don't assume that there's anywhere that you can go where you will not be seen as that, right? But arriving at the airport in Accra, you see folks that look like you. You see people that treat you with a certain level of humanity and respect. You are not presented with what I call a presumption of incompetence or a presumption that you are doing something that might be particularly nefarious. Seeing the television stations with folks that look like you, seeing the president, who looks like you, those are like my first impressions. I went the first time I went out, it was around August. It was around this time of year, so it was warm, but there was a cool breeze that was coming off of the water. So those impressions were very inviting and very welcoming, and the people, I constantly got welcome home, welcome home, welcome home. So those are like my first. Those are like my first impressions.
All right, cool. I know that's getting Jesse a little jealous.
I'm going, man. I'm going. I'm convinced I'm gonna get there. So for those who don't know, Will and I talk all the time because I'm determined that for one of these trips to Ghana, I am going with him there. It's been difficult because every time I talk to Will about what I need to get there, the price level goes up. But I'm determined, man. I'm coming. Between Will and Fred, I know I'm gonna be there as soon as COVID is over.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
you gotta come. You gotta go.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to take it back a little bit. Can you tell the people kind of where are you from in North Carolina and what inspired you to want to do any kind of law work in the first place?
Right. So I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, which is the capital of the state of North Carolina in the U.S. My road to law is quite unremarkable. I don't have any, when I was growing up, I didn't have any real great desire to practice law. Honestly, I would have more preferred to have been a basketball player, right?
Right.
Right. But everybody isn't as blessed with those athletic attributes as others.
Right.
So my father, to whom I was just talking about in a disparaging fashion about the middle name, my dad is a lawyer, right? So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew at least there was a pathway that I could follow to take myself to a profession that I felt I could be successful in. So I just pretty much did what he did, I went to undergraduate school here in North Carolina at North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride, and then I went to North Carolina Central for law school. Both of those schools aren't any more than 50 miles apart from one another in the state of North Carolina. So I just kind of followed a path that was already laid out.
Okay.
I followed up a path of legacy, and that's really what got me into practicing law.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I will say this. I've always had a heart for, protecting the humanity of people. Even in law school, Jesse, if you remember, we established the constitutional law concentration. So that's
always a lot
always
of trouble doing that too.
Yeah. That's always been, I've always been the kind of person who, pushes the gas and pushes the agenda, right? Like, let's make it happen. Let's do it. Life is short. You got to do it. You got to do it. That's what we talk about all the time, Jesse. Getting to Africa, right? Because I feel like it's almost like reading a book.
Mm-hmm.
Africa is what everybody tells you it is until you experience it for yourself.
Okay.
In the Muslim faith, one of the requirements is for you to make a hijaz to Mecca, right?
That's
because
right.
in the Muslim faith, they understand that once you see it for yourself, it will be concrete. It will be made concrete in your mind and in your heart, right? So I'm a big proponent, man. You got to go. Everybody, African Americans got to go to the motherland, whether that be Ghana or Sierra Leone or South Africa or the Gambia. You have to go because you got to feel what it feels like to be plugged in to the actual outlet, which is Africa, instead of some manufactured power. That's what we have here in America. The real power is in Africa.
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Fred.
So what would you say to people, anyone considering actually relocating? Some of our brothers have done that, relocating from the States to the continent. What would you say for someone who is considering it, who hasn't really made a decision? What would you say to them?
So I would say I'm in a similar position, right? I have, I've been talking to my wife now about, what that looks like, right? Picking up from the U.S. and going to Africa, moving to Ghana specifically. And I would just say, first I think it's important to go, right, and see it for yourself.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I say, Africa has, from what I've been able to experience, there's a lot of space for growth and entrepreneurship for those individuals that have the heart and desire to do that. So if you are in the States, or if you're in, the UK, because a lot of folks in the UK have done it, honestly, right? Yeah. And you have a skill that you can bring and that you can lend to, the motherland, I say do that. I think the continent is ripe for growth.
That's right.
And while aesthetically you might not feel it as pleasing as maybe the US or Europe, I think the understanding has to be there. And this is going to sound real deep and but our cultures are built off of a culture of credit. Like you only have a nice house, not necessarily. You only have a house of so many square feet, not necessarily because you had the money to put down, but you were able to leverage a financial system that will allow you to borrow extreme amount of money for you to live there, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think Africa is they have credit markets there, but their credit markets are not as robust. So when people own a house, they own a house. You know,
that's right.
When people build a structure, they are building that structure from savings, from community pooling money together, from general collective economics. And I feel that system will prove itself out over the next number of years. So I say let's go. You might not necessarily enjoy the fruits of your labor, but your children will, and they will be in an awesome position to experience the booming growth that Africa has to offer.
And I just want to put out there too, because one of the things that we deal with here in America, many things that we deal with here in America. So I think there's this concept here that we're always in a rat race. Like you're always chasing to get over on your bills. You're chasing to get over to put some savings together. You're always running. On top of the fact that you're always made to feel marginalized, right? So you're always made to feel like, whatever you're doing is not good enough. The saying in Black America is you got to be 3 times as good to get a third of the credit, right? And I think that what people are missing now is the money that you generate wherever you are has value that it sounds like to me, based on what you all always tell me, is actually appreciated somewhere else. So the value, if you want to buy a house, whereas America, you essentially give them your hard-earned money as a down payment to be indebted to them to a mortgage, to then chase until you can pay it off in 15 to 30 years. It sounds like what you all are telling me is the value that you have, if you amass a certain amount of money, you can go over there, you can build your house. I mean, we saw some video where a guy built a mega mansion for $30,000, right? So you go over, you build your house the way that you want it. You can interact with a community that's not going to look at you as a criminal or anything like that. And that you can actually build on a time period in Africa where there's tremendous growth. And we've heard the stories about, people from China coming in and trying to invest, people from Germany coming in and trying to invest. And it feels like for Americans, particularly Black Americans, I feel like we tend to be the ones who seem to be missing out on that opportunity because we're too busy chasing to stay above water, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think some of it just has to do with fear. Mm-hmm. Like, one of the things that I think locks African Americans in the US is we don't have a natural chain of custody, for the lack of a better expression, to Africa, right? you see what I did there, right? We don't have a natural chain, like slavery chain of custody to Africa, because our chain was broken, right? When we were brought over here. So it's easy for a German American or an Italian American to go home, because they have a natural link to that. So one of the barriers in African Americans going back to Africa, whether it be for vacation or to live, is just, where do you go? Right? Do you go to Senegal? Well, my people might not be from there. Do you go to Ghana? Well, my people might not be from there. So the chart, because I had a meeting with the governor of the Cape Coast region when I was in Ghana, right? And we were sitting in his office, and at the end of the meeting, he said, I would challenge you all to invite your friends here. He was like, you guys go to the Caribbean. What do they have in the Caribbean? We were like, they have beaches. He was like, we have beaches. He's like, bring African Americans to Ghana. Bring them to Africa so they can see and they can feel what it's like to be home, right? Because again, once you plug in to that original power, that original energy, it's infectious. It makes you put stuff up all around your house. It makes you change your middle name. It makes you talk about it incessantly. So I think that we gotta continue to preach it. We have to continue to help to overcome the barriers of getting people that kind of exposure.
Good point.
Good point. So So, how about Cape Coast? I saw. I happened to go check you out. I saw you had a picture on one of the Cape Coast beaches. So did you spend a lot of time in Cape Coast?
So I'll tell you, I've been to Cape Coast. I went to St. Augustine's High School. I think that's in Cape Coast, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends went, childhood friends went there.
Yeah. You know, one of the cool stories about the Cape Coast High School is the bells, and this is like a cultural thing, right? So when you change classes, they, you know, in the United States, the bells like ding, ding, and the classes change, right? But at that high school, when the bells change, it's like a melody, you know. I mean, that kind of stuff is you would only know that if you've been there and if you've experienced what that feels like. It gives you internal energy. So that's, you know, that you know, I had a great time in Cape Coast. I also went to the slave castle that was there. That was a life-changing experience. I had an opportunity to go out to Western Ghana, to Sanzule. And I've also been up to the Volta region, to the Volta Lake, to check to Lake Okasambo. I believe that's how you say it, Akasambo.
Akosombo.
Yeah. I've been up there. We were looking at some fishing and some salt mines up there. So, I've kind of stayed along the southern part of Ghana. I was telling one of my colleagues that, you know, I got to get to the inland more, up a bit. So, yeah.
Of course, I wouldn't blame you. The weather, of course, the weather is really really nice and cool, nice and
absolutely
along the coast.
It is.
Well, I want to talk about the important stuff, man. How's the food when you travel?
Oh man, the food is excellent. The food is excellent. You know, there are like, you know, so 4 very important, awesome dishes, and two of, well, one of them isn't really a dish. So there's a white pineapple, right? A white pineapple that I had when I was in the hotel. I mean, it was so sweet. It's the best pineapple there is. Kele wele, that's another one of my favorite kind of snack foods. You know, it's similar to plantain cut up small, seasoned. Jollof rice.
Yes.
And then like a pie. It's like I don't remember what it's called. Maybe you can help me out here, Fred.
Sure.
It's small fish. It's like small fish that they sell in the market, and you can get them in like big bags.
So it's like,
you eat them, they kind of taste like cheese almost.
Oh, okay. It's like anchovy. I mean, for people here, it might be like anchovies, but it's a little smaller, and they eat them with like they eat them with like kenke or banku.
Yeah, the kenke bread. The kenke bread. Yeah,
the kenke.
Oh man. Right. Because so on the way on one of the trips on the way back from San Zule, that's like a 4-hour drive, right? 4 or 5 hour drive from Accra. We would just stop at some of the streets, you know, as we were stopping for security checks. There would be folks there with the bread and with the little snack foods. So we got some of that. That was really good. That was really good.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a comment here. It looks like Michael, my boy from Nigeria. What's going on, Mike? Says, at this point, I wouldn't want to go to a place where I would be referred to as a minority unless for educational purposes. I mean, I can't argue with that. You know? Absolutely. I mean, I try to be patriotic when it comes to, you know, stuff that Black people actually control. You know, and I don't want to knock it. I think America, for us at least in the United States, if you come here for, you know, business ventures, or if you come here just to tour or whatever the case may be, I think for the most part, it's going to be pretty straight. The problem is if you come here for anything long term and you got to deal with the societal issues that are going on here. And I know it can be difficult because, you know, in America, we got a lot of subdivisions on how things break down. So you got You know, black and white is always going to be traditionally the division. Then you got amongst whiteness, there's infighting. Are you liberal? Are you conservative? Amongst black people, it's going to be infighting, right? So it's just like, it's a lot to have to deal with and process and identify as. And I think if you aren't prepared for that, then it can be difficult. Or if you don't have a support system that can kind of coach you and get you through that, it can be difficult. But if you're talking about traveling and all that, all good. I think it's great to see things like the Statue of Liberty and all that. But just know that Big Apple is rotten inside.
Right.
Okay. And then Mike says, I think our African brothers and sisters out there need to get connected to the Black continent somehow. You can do this by investing down here. You can actually invest little to get so much more, particularly in agriculture. You can lease a vast land for so little and employ manual labor, and the output would be unimaginable. Try rice farming, for instance. Okay, so he's giving us some pretty good tips on ways to invest. You know?
I guess so. So my only thing is, I think that what is lacking are vehicles to receive that investment.
Okay.
Right. And vehicles that are trusted vehicles, because you know African Americans have a lot of skepticism about what Africa provides. And that skepticism has been ingrained in us as we've been taught in this American and this Europeanized education, right? Well, I think the next step is to really build trusted vehicles to receive the investment. Because I agree with Michael. You know, you could spend, labor is relatively cheap. Land is bountiful, right? The folks who own the land, if they are not, making use of the land, providing them with some monies to use the land can be done at very, very, very reasonable rates, right? But what is in place? What is in place to kind of connect all these pieces together? What's in place for the American who may not have $2 million to put into some agriculture venture? Maybe they want to put in $10,000. Maybe they want to put in $5,000. How do we make those opportunities available for what I like to consider kind of micro investors, right? I think that's kind of the next wave that I know I've had conversations with some people on things that we're trying to build so that folks, can invest, and through investment, you can get a visit, and through visit, we can get some we can get some, expats to come over and to really settle in Africa. Because those opportunities are there. There was on the last trip that I went, we went and visited a tilapia farm, right? There were
tilapia. Oh, okay,
tilapia. There were probably 10 employees of the tilapia farm. They lived in a small house on the actual farm. They worked the farm. Once they raise the fish, because with tilapia, what they do is they have one pond that kind of drains into another, drains into another, right? Once the fish were big enough, they were able to harvest them right out the pond. They were selling them right on the land. Folks in the area would come and buy right from, right there. But they were not the space was not owned by Africans. The area was owned and operated by the Chinese, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's negative, right? But because I think that everyone has the ability to invest where they find opportunity. But we have to make sure that we have some African American ownership there. Because there's opportunity there if we just get ahead of our fears and get ahead of some of these things that have been taught and that have been built into us.
Right on. Tilapia is a big thing over there. A lot of people invest in. I mean, you have a few people investing in, and there's also other vehicles like just fishing straight out of the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and because fish is actually, believe it or not, much cheaper over there, and it's easier to get. You get it straight from the waters, be it a pond or one of the lakes or straight out of the ocean, and it's fresh. It's real. That's real organic, not the fake organic.
Absolutely.
That's right. But I want to switch gears here a little bit. I heard you're part of a basketball camp in Ghana.
Yeah. No. So one of my clients actually is a former. He's now a former NBA player.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as one of the initiatives that we were a part of was with a company called Zoetic Global, and they were providing energy solutions to African countries, and one of which was Ghana. That was kind of the reason why initially we were there. But one of the components of what we do is kind of a community service component. So we had a basketball clinic at the University of Ghana in Accra.
Okay.
We invited there might have been 200 kids out that we had on the basketball court. And,
wow.
We invited, a number of NBA talent. David West is one of my clients, but, there was, TJ Warren, he's a current NBA player. He was there. There were, some other NBA affiliated people there as well. Just doing something to give back to the community. And it was we had a great time. There were a number of politicians that came out. We got an opportunity to have a meeting and talk to the vice president of Ghana.
Wow.
while we were there. He actually hosted us. So that was it was an awesome time. But the basketball clinic, I felt, was probably one of the most fruitful engagements that we participated in, just because we got to see so much of the community.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right, Jay.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, first off, it's been an honor. I got a million stories about Will that I could tell y'all. I don't want to get him in trouble. Let me tell you the one thing that always stuck out, because me and Will, as soon as we met, it was just instant friendship. But one of the things is our final year of law school. Our law school was in this sort of maze where we wanted to bring back focus on social justice issues. And at the time, there was this situation with the GINA 6. For those who don't remember, there were some high school kids in GINA, Louisiana. They had gotten into basic school fight and returned. And on top of that, had gotten school suspensions, arrested. But the students there who were still remaining started being subject to racist threats, nooses hung on trees, that kind of thing. So we wanted to do something. We being me, Will, and Renee Brown, shout out to Renee. We wanted to do something about it. So we went on this, kind of goal or this quest of trying to get administration to support it. And administration was reluctant to support it. So we collectively did it without administration. And with the school name on it, we took students on a bus overnight down to GINA, Louisiana. We all had our NCCU law shirts on. And as soon as we got off the bus, I just remember it was like the sun was just starting to come up. There was a million people everywhere. There were media outlets. There were people who were from GINA that were just happy to see that we came all the way from North Carolina to come support them and be part of the march. You got Jesse Jackson here. You got Michael Bays and Al Shaw, everybody. So we're going through. We participate in the march to the courthouse. And I believe that's the day that they released Michael Bell from jail. Oh. And the feeling that we got when we had this march, the feeling of, man, we brought this together. The three of us working together did this. We rode back on the bus overnight. And when we get back to the school, What we didn't know is that a lot of the faculty at the law school stood in solidarity with what we were doing. So they wore black armbands, black shirts to support. And we come back and we get off the bus. There's people like clapping. Everybody's excited. And just the feeling that we got of knowing that we took it upon ourselves to voice the social justice concerns, because at a historically black law school, it just seems like this should be something we're involved in. And so I look back on it now. Granted, there was a lot of conversations I had with the dean after that little excursion, and we're fortunate to be graduates. And
right.
But at the same time, I've always respected and appreciated Will for all of the work that he did on that effort, and for having my back, period, because it got rough. And so Will is great. And I think that, it's this energy and this spirit and this drive that I hope that we can exchange with our people from across the water, right? So I think there are things we can learn from them that will make us better. I think there are things that we can share that will make everybody better. And I want people to just get to a point where we can understand our networks don't have to be limited by our geography. We got Al Gore's internet. Right? Like we got internet, we can talk. We right. A lot of the things I've heard from talking to various people who have gone and done travels and thought about investing in Africa is little things like stuff we take for granted here. We can set up businesses. Man, LLC in North Carolina is what, like $125, right? So we can set up businesses here. We can engage. We can provide money. Like Black American spending power is ridiculous. So I mean, if we put our mind to doing something that is identifiably Black and supports the entire diaspora, we really can change the world. And I don't want people to feel limited, but in order to feel comfortable doing that, you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone, travel, build these networks, build these relationships, and just understand that you want to bring something of value in addition to, uplifting everybody with you. So I think Will is the person that quintessentially identifies that. Yeah.
Hey, man, first of all, I will make sure that I cash app you after this for those kind words. I know that's not free. You know what I'm saying? I know that's not free. Look, my I don't know if people can see my Twitter handle at the bottom. Can you see it? Like right there. Yeah. Right. Please follow me. I would be remiss if I didn't say at the beginning of it was probably the end of last year. Myself, a partner of mine in Ghana, as well as one of my business partners here in the States, we actually started a Ghanaian nonprofit. It's called Africa 360 Degrees Ltd. It's actually a Ghanaian-based company. Mm-hmm. Coronavirus kind of threw a wrench in some of the things we had going on, but we're definitely building that platform. So please, hit me up via direct message. I love to connect with people. That's it right there. I love to connect with people. I love to share things that I have going on. I love to meet people where they are. So, I say, let's use these platforms to connect and to repair those broken chains of custody that we were talking about earlier.
Amen.
Yeah. And I just want to make a comment too on that. That's well said, Will. And also to my African brothers, especially those of you. First off, I want to say thank you to Jesse and Will and your ancestors. You made it possible for some of us to come to school here and we walk around freely without being, although of course there's still issues walking around freely, but your ancestors made it possible for us to come here and have an education. My wife has an education. Most of the people in AfriScope who are in this country got an education because of some of the brothers and sisters, our ancestors who died through sweat, blood, and tears. And it's made it possible for us. So definitely, I agree with Will. And I just wanted to add that to my African brothers who live here and have gained from coming here.
Amen. Yeah, man.
Awesome.
And Fred's trying to be modest too. All the stuff that you was naming that you like to eat, Fred probably know how to make it. You know, Fred cooks. Fred got the menu right now. He probably like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
Hey man, you gotta get look. If I could find like so the guy who brought some over from the Kelewele that I was mentioning, you know, he is local here in Durham, and he just doesn't know what kind of target is on his back now, right? I'm gonna be hitting him up all the time for some Kelewele, some jollof. I mean, yeah, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Michael says, enter partnership arrangement with trusted hands down here, and you'll never regret.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you gotta go. You gotta meet people. You gotta feel it. You know, I know that it sounds like we're kind of wrapping up here, but you know, the feeling that I got when I was at the castle in Elmina, as well in Cape Coast, was, I mean, Africa is just so, you know, Ghana. I'll just say Ghana because I haven't been everywhere in Africa, right? But Ghana is so far. You know what I'm saying? It is so far away from the United States. And when you think about the struggle that those humans, you know, our ancestors made to cross that water, right, and to be subjected to that, you know, void of humanity for, you know, the rest of their lives, right? Because now we have the means and the technology that will allow us to get back there in a matter of 10 hours, 12 hours. You know, like you gotta go back. You know, you have to go back. You know, one of the shirts that folks wear when I was there, because the last time I went, it was actually for the return, the year of the return.
Oh, you were there 2019?
Yeah. I was there 2018-19, the first one they had, right?
Oh, okay.
But a lot of folks had on their shirts, "I am my ancestors' wildest dreams," right? Because your ancestors, when they were led through that small gap at the slave castle, right? And they were led out onto those boats. Like, many of those folks never thought that they nor anyone who came after them would ever see the homeland again, right? So it's incumbent upon us that we know what it is, you know, like it's there, it's within our grasp. You know, folks in Africa, they want to engage with African Americans and Africans across the diaspora generally, right? So I think, you know, we have an obligation to execute the dreams of our ancestors. And that dream, I feel, is simply just to reconnect, to do things like we're doing here, to go to eat the food. You know, when I got the name Ekow, I just felt like these young boys at the bar were actually pouring into me things about me that I didn't even know. You know, and you know, it's that you know, reteaching yourself about yourself, I think, will change the position of African Americans and Africans across the diaspora. You know, our people are the foundations of humanity. You know, and we got to walk in. We got to walk in that authority.
Absolutely. Man, I don't know if you get end on a better note than that, man. We still got to hit y'all with this trivia though.
Today, we're gonna give out a prize. So a little.
Oh man, I know I'm gonna play now.
Okay, so today's first question. Okay, what is the newest addition to the African continent? Okay, Michael, I'll give you 10 seconds. We like to give Michael a hard time. He's the newest addition to the African continent. Which country is the newest addition to the African continent? Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Let's see. Let me see the watch party. Okay. Yay! Michael got it. South Sudan.
South Sudan. Good job, Michael. Yeah.
So, Michael, I'm gonna get in touch with you for Amazon gift card.
Uh-oh. Amazon gift card. Big money.
Okay, at least got one. Okay. Second question. What's the capital of Togo? What is the capital of Togo? Togo is to the east of Ghana, right next door to Ghana. Yeah.
I know. I don't know if you noticed, Fred, but wasn't there some conversation about no passport regions in West
ECOWAS,
Africa?
Yeah, ECOWAS region. So
Yeah.
ECOWAS region from Nigeria. I think Cameroon entered some kind of agreement. So all the way from Nigeria, all the way to up to Senegal.
Mhm.
So that's the ECOWAS region, Economic Community of West African States.
Okay.
So there's no passport region. Now, when you have the new passports, you have the stripes on this, the ECOWAS. Yeah. So, yep. And
Cool.
after some time, it's going to be hard to get those passports. Oh, Michael! Wow, Michael,
you up today, man.
Lomain.
He's on fire.
Yeah, Michael's on fire. And the last one, I hope someone else gets it. Who's the president of Rwanda? Who's the president of Rwanda? Rwanda, Rwanda. And that's one of the fastest growing economies on the continent. One of the most beautiful countries too. After the unfortunate incidents in the late 90s, it blossomed from there. Really grateful to that president.
Absolutely.
So,
I wanted the people of Rwanda share from any of that money that they made off of that film.
yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. It shouldn't just go to the Western media and keep it to the market. Go to the.
Absolutely.
I agree with that, Will. Okay, so 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the answer is, I mean, Mike, you already got your prize, so you don't have to answer. Paul Kagame. Yeah, and he's done a great job, and now they even started creating their own. They have all kinds of stuff that is being built in Rwanda. So
yep, I got a picture pulled up too.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they've now even started the region in East Africa. So now we have West Africa and East Africa, collection of countries in East Africa. So it's Rwanda, Uganda, I think South Sudan, and 2 others. So I believe it's a step in the right direction. So we have ECOWAS and then the East Africa region and probably Southern African states and like Northern African states. That way we could come together.
Hey, that's the key. That I know one of the African Union's pushes for this this decade is a what is it? 54 nation union.
Yeah, we have 54. Yeah, 54 nations. Yeah.
Hey, Africa is rising. Come on now. Look, look, look. Geopolitically, if you follow anything geopolitically, you see that in the colonial days, European countries swooped in to divide Africa up. Now what we're seeing is superpowers swoop in. They're not carving it up for ownership, but they're carving it up for investment, right? So we got to be cognizant of that, and we gotta be participants in this economic jockeying that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, nobody's better positioned than African Americans. Let's do it. Let's get motivated. So yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay. So before we close out, yesterday there was a link I shared. I'm glad to say that there's a lady in Ghana who started a business, and she didn't want to share the business because, of course, she didn't want anyone to take out her ideas and run with it. So I'm glad to say that we here at Pan Africana, on behalf of them, I donated a little to help her cause. She put out, that was a GoFundMe page for her to get just something we take for granted here, a laptop. Almost every household has a laptop or a desktop, and she got it. She went way past her goal of $1,000. So,
all right,
good work.
Those are some of the things that the Pan Africana presenting Afriscope are proud to be part of, to promote unity, to promote entrepreneurship, which hasn't been preached in our schools or in our communities. Growing up, when someone started a business, like, why don't you go get a job, office job? Yeah, like my brother is an entrepreneur. When he started his business, people kept bombarding, why don't you go get an office job? Why don't you just do it like everyone else? But he did not listen to that, kept pounding away, and he's one of the top designers in Ghana now. So Will, hit him up when you go. I'll tell him
what's your name?
It's Non-Threat Designs, my last name. Designs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can look him up.
Does he ship across the water?
Yeah, he has a system. His partner here moved back, but I think the system is still there. But
okay.
I mean, that's easy to do. So you can just,
okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't love anything more than wearing a nice kaftan to an event or somewhere and just it's nothing like it. And you know why? Because it's something that belongs to a culture that I belong to, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm all about embracing that. Don't let the horses fool you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my American outfit.
Right. I'm with you, Jesse. Absolutely.
Yeah. Man. Well, let me say this too, man. Every week we meet a new person in Fred's family. Fred got some amazing siblings. Like Fred's like, oh yeah, my sister, world down psychologist. Oh yeah, world down fashion design. I'm like Fred. So the Fred family is doing it, man. I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Like the non-Taras when I grow up.
No doubt. No doubt.
Jesse, we appreciate you, Jesse. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Victoria. She was part of our watch party. Victoria, thanks for coming, and thanks, Michael, one of our biggest fans now.
Shout out to Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone else. I see some people shared. I didn't see them on the feed, but I saw they shared it on Facebook. Thanks for joining us this morning for me in the West Coast. But thanks for joining us from all over the world. Share, and this post will be on our Facebook. So like our page. Also, we have our YouTube page up. Go subscribe. Comment, share our videos on YouTube. We have 2 videos up already. No, 3 actually. We have 3 videos up. This is gonna get up in a couple of days. So look out for it on YouTube. It just has to be edited, and we'll move from there. All right, over to you, Jesse.
I just want to say shout out as always, even though she's not with us this morning, it seems. Catchy. We appreciate, all the support. We appreciate the Afroscope community. And we want to continue to bring you guys great content. Thank you to Will for coming out today, man, giving us such good information. I appreciate it. And as always, catch us next week, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, if you're out in California with Fred. But definitely catch us, follow us, tell your friends about us. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you like our Facebook page. Again, that's PANAFRICANA, Pan Africa, presented by Afroscope. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. So bye, everyone.